we shall start. Thank you everyone for joining with us for the webinar on reimagining plastics, circular packaging innovations. So before we get into the webinar, I'll quickly introduce what NSRCEL and Circular Economy Program at NSRCEL does. So NSRCEL is the IIM Bangalore Startup Incubator, NS Raghavan Center for Entrepreneurial Learning. So we have been supporting entrepreneurs across different stages and sectors from over 20 years. And quickly about the Circular Economy Incubation Program in partnership with Pernod, Ricard and their foundation. So the upcoming cohort will be the third consecutive cohort which we are having with Pernod, Ricard and their foundation. So we have previously supported around 46 startups in circular economy space. So for the upcoming cohort, the applications are open now, and we are looking at sectors like climate smart agriculture, plastic circularity, and glass circularity. So when I mean climate smart agriculture, I mean innovations in regenerative agriculture, precision agriculture, supply chain traceability. And in plastic circularity, we are looking at innovations in plastic waste energy, plastic waste management, innovations in plastic-free packaging. And when we look at glass circularity, we mean sustainable bottle redesign, sorting and cleaning of glass, then material innovation glass. So these are the sectors which we are looking at for the upcoming cohort. And if you're a registered startup with minimum 1 year of operations and have a demonstrable POC, then surely you should explore about the program and do apply. And by being part of the program, what you can expect is clarity in value proposition. And we are a very sector-specific incubation program. So along with the business mentoring and sessions, you will also get understanding of the sector, ecosystem, how to navigate the ecosystem, and impact measurement is something which we find is of very much value, along with storytelling and how to go about the fundraising journey and how to look at networking and especially with government, corporates, etc. And maybe I will just quickly name a few of our alumni, which you might also know. So we had Gudgam, who is the India's first plastic-free chewing gum, and we had incubated Pratibha, who is making bioenzymes to degrade plastic. And we have incubated Sunbird straws, which makes straws out of dried coconut leaves. We had CGM, who's working with farmers to actually leverage the carbon credit market. So these are a few alumni which I can name, and applications are open. Do check it out, explore. You can scan this QR also in case you want to apply for the program. And now I think we should get into the webinar. And for the webinar on reimagining plastics, we'll be discussing more on the innovation side. That will be one focus area which we will have today. Other will be on policy and regulation and how the infrastructure for the plastic circularity works. And also we'll be talking a little bit about the demand side of things, especially from a corporate perspective. So looking forward for the discussion, and I thank all the panelists who are with us today. I will quickly introduce the panel before I hand over to Akshay for moderation. So we have for the panel Mr. Nayandeep Banerjee, who is AGM of Packaging Development at Pernod Ricard India, and he comes with a extensive understanding of the packaging innovations and have navigated the space from many years now across many corporates. Then we have Ms. Pratibha Dewett, who is Chief Sustainability Officer at Lucro Plastecycle. So Lucro is into plastic waste supply chain, especially the post-consumer waste collection to packaging. So she will know the entire on-ground realities of the plastic waste recycling. And we have Mr. Vidya Bhooshan Singh, who is plastic waste specialist in IP Global. So he comes with an expertise in waste management, decentralization. So he'll also cover the policy side of things in the plastic circularity and also into packaging. So we have moderator Akshay Joshi, who is Senior Program Manager for Climate COE at NSRCEL. And now over to you, Akshay, and thank you, panel, for being with us today.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Parvati. So as Parvati was giving a quick intro, we have today a panelist from someone who understands the corporate world, has been in the corporate innovation for more, has excellent expertise in that part. Then we have Pratibha, who understands what exactly goes on ground in the plastic waste management part, and Vidya, who is an ecosystem enabler, uh, and who is ensuring that what are the different innovations he's seeing it on ground that are happening, and he's enabling that innovation to happen. So I'm looking forward to have conversation with all the three of them and get to learn from them. First, let's just try to understand what exactly is happening in this plastic innovation space. What are the white spaces where you as a starter founder can build, or if you're building, what pivots you can make. We will discuss for around 40-45 minutes based on the three crucial subsets that Parvati mentioned. And then we will open the floor for question and answers. In chat box, you can drop your questions. We will take it in the last 10-15 minutes. Let's me jump to the panel discussion now. Let me start with Nayandeep first. Nayandeep, can you please share us what are the innovations you are observing in the circular packaging? Um, and what are the white spaces where innovation is required, but yet you're not able to see startups building in that space? So, two subsets, if you can cover.
Yeah, thank you, Akshay, and thank you, Parvati, for giving me opportunity and the whole NSRCEL team for choosing me as speaker and speaking very interesting topic, which is circular packaging innovations. With my experience, what I have seen that if I categorize into all innovation into four pillars, then if I take that 4R, reduce, reuse, recycle, and rethink model. So the reduce part of it is already been done by the most of the corporate, where we are talking about reducing, lightweighting, thinning the plastic material whatever is possible. But where I can find a white space and where we can look into more insights is how the technology, because technology is evolving a lot, means how we can use different simulation tool, means I can say like some kinds of design tools. So when we are designing a new packaging material or new packaging specification, can you do a quick evaluation tool like simulation tool, which can give a initial kinds of understanding of how optimized we can make to ensure the process stability, meeting all the functionality, as well as it's give the optimized cost. I think this is the gray area, and this is the area that we should look into in the design phase, where we should put most of the effort to bring that what is the minimalistic packaging that we can use in our portfolio. I think this is where I can find a gap, which I think it's opportunity for bringing some new innovations to it. Second is recycle. So when you talk about recycle again, because it's something, some buzzword which is going on last now few 5-6 years now, and because there are a lot of regulation changes happen in this market, and so and people are moving into a multi-layered plastic to monomaterial structure. The benefit is very clear that once you make monomaterial structure, then it's make more easier to recycle, and people are moving into those direction instead of going in a very complex structure with 3-4 layer of structure or composite material that have been used, which is very difficult to segregate and reuse, recycle it. So I think those are being taken care of, and it is going on. But the white space that I can talk about here is the major challenges in India is the collection, sorting, segregations in India. So where we should focus more is how the technology, the involvement of technology, how we can bring those insights or the technologies which can help the recycler to do the proper sorting, mainly now focusing on the customized segregation. We have to step one more when step forward. So we have a system which is there, but yes, we have to strengthen our system. So what kinds of technology that we can evolve in the space where we can customize our segregation, we can segregate our waste, we put it proper recycle stream to make a proper useful material and bring it back to the chain of circle. Hence the circle has to close, though it's complying to the regulations, and also ensure that all these technology can support or as a work as a catalyst to increase the process efficiency as well as its being output of the recycler. Why recycler will spend money if there is no output? So I think this is where the technology white spot is there, and then we should focus more on those areas. Third is rethink, and when you talk about rethink is something which is other than plastics. So this is also a gray area, and I can say there are a lot of development is going on locally and globally. There are a lot of biodegradable compostable material is coming out as a solutions to it, whether it's a PLA, PHA, PBAT, PBS, any kinds of material or composite of those material to get a desired properties on the functionality. The major challenges which I have seen in last almost now 6-7 years now, what I struggle a lot as a development initiator in the market, I found that this all material is very good in terms of to evaluate as a solutions as a alternates of plastic, but it's very cost when it's incurred things, because all these resins not been manufactured in India. Most of them it's been manufactured from outside, and then we bring it back here in India, and then it's becoming a too difficult for us to absorb the cost, as well as there are few material which is having a functionality challenges, which to meet the polymer functionality to achieve with the biodegradable material, there are a lot of challenges. And also there are a lot of regulatory perspective also. This all biodegradable material in India, there are very lack of regulations which is there to support this biodegradable. Hence this is a white space which we can look into, and this is an opportunity that we can into, that how what kinds of packaging material. I'm just an example of potato peels. Can you use this starch as one of the source? I'm just giving example. There are multiple example which is abundant, which is there in the environment, which we are burning or we are not using. Can you use some useful material with that with a minimum cost? This is something that we have to see. Because a lot of people are working with coconut shell, a lot of people are working on seaweeds and so on, because there are a lot of material which is been abundant today, and we can use those material. And this is, I believe, that what's white space. But just consider one thing in mind, that it should be optimized in cost, because India market is very sensitive and dynamic market. We can't work something which is 3 times more higher cost than polymers. I'll be very honest with you. I mean, it is very difficult to get it this thing. I think this is where I think focus should be more to be evolved. Recovery is the fourth pillar which I talk, and this is very interesting pillar, I'll say, because we are using a lot of packaging material. But if we do those recovery of the packaging material with the different means, like in our terms, like the recovery terms is different in different companies. So here we are talking about the recovery, that we can reuse our packaging material. We can do alternate kinds of vending machines, alternate machines to collection and segregations. I think like those opportunity are again a gray area, that how we incentivize our waste. Means anyway, because as if I talk about India today, paper and glass is not means not available in there. So why it is? Because it's incentivized, because the consumer is getting benefit, the rack picker is getting benefits, everyone is getting benefit, hence it is there. So we have to make those system very strong, even for the plastic, the small plastic, how we can create incentivization. And I don't know, there could be app-based system, or there could be some system that we can work into, where the collection as well as incentivizing as well as that benefit has to percolate to all areas. FDF from starting from there, and consumer pass on the benefits to the consumer. It means then only the foolproof system will work. So I think these are the few areas. I think just only
Got
one
it.
point that we want to say, that how technology evolvement and what kinds of new packaging material which can bring the changes on the new innovations that I can
Got
look
it.
into. Yeah.
Thank you, Nayandeep. Thank you for covering all the four aspects and telling us what are the white spaces. One crucial aspect that you mentioned and talked about is how it should be economic feasible and incentives for it to work. You mentioned about recycling and recovery, and I think Pratibha is the right person to dig deeper into it. Pratibha, if you'd like to tell about what exactly you do, and how innovative strategies you're using in these two spaces. And while working in this as well, what are the key things that you think startups can learn from it?
So, hi everyone. So, what we do is we're an integrated waste management company. We make the final packaging, which we supply to a number of brands in India. But we've kind of integrated really well right from the start in the particular waste management supply chain because I think what we realized really early on is that unfortunately not a lot of people so recycling has always happened in India, right? Plastic recycling, it's just been very unregulated and people have been doing it in silos. But unfortunately, because of that, there is also a problem where nobody has really focused on science aspect of it. So no one has bothered, really making sure that the granule that comes out when you make it is of good enough quality so that it can actually be used in packaging again. It's always historically it used to always be used as fillers just to bring the cost down. So I think that's where a lot of the bad name also came. And when policies came, people were really worried as well, where are you going to get the material from. But what we did in order to make sure that our packaging is optimal is, of course, we're recycling it, the granules ourselves. But we also made sure that we really well integrate into the collection aspect of it. So we have our own collection centers where we're directly collecting material from municipalities. We're running their MRFs. We're collecting a lot of household waste. Of course, we're also working with a few aggregators. We have worked on a lot of reverse logistics with retail outlets, etc. Also, just to make sure that we are covering kind of every place or touch point where waste is generated. When all of this waste is brought into our centers, it is segregated very, very well. So another key aspect that we realized very early on is that the quality of the product will be only as good as your segregation has been. If you've not segregated your material really well based on polymer types, and that's where design for circularity also kind of comes in. If you're what Nayandeep kind of covered, that if your packaging is made up of multi not just MLP in terms of the aluminium layer, but even plastics of different polymer families, it is very difficult or it's impossible to recycle it, really, to be honest. You'll make something out of it, but you can't really make a good product out of it. So, just for the EPR aspect of it that people do, yes, you might be able to recycle it and give credits to companies, but you're not really using that as a final product. So, so anyway, your material is only as good as you've segregated the material, and which is why we have a very strong hold on something like that, because quality for us is the most important thing. For us, we don't work on an EPR based model. We work on a selling the packaging or the recycled packaging model. So yeah.
Oh, got it. Thank you for covering it in detail. Are there any spaces you think in recycling as well as collection where innovation, or there are spaces where there is room for innovation?
Yeah, definitely there is. I mean, you pick up any packet. I'll give you an example. We've recently launched with a company. We worked on their detergent packs, and it used to be a PET PE structure, but we've moved it to a PE family sort of material. So even though it might not get made into the same exact product again, but it is recyclable and it can be used in other good applications also. So yeah, you pick up anything and you do research into it of how you can really convert it from the sort of multi plastic layering polymer bit to a mono material, or at least the same family material. You do something like that, then there is a lot of scope for AI powered sorting systems as well. There's of course stuff in the market right now, but it only works for rigids. There's nothing that works really well for flexibles. So there's a big opportunity there. Unfortunately, the reason it doesn't work well for flexibles is because things get stuck on top of each other, and it gets very difficult for any AI to read that. Coming back again into the way material is segregated at home and how it's disposed. Unfortunately, that is something of a mindset game that which could take a generation or two to shift, where people actually segregating material properly at home. But yeah, I mean, definitely AI is the next I mean, I know if we would get someone that would have made really amazing AI powered sorting system for flexibles, we would definitely be interested in something like that.
Okay,
So,
got it, got it. Mm. Yeah, thanks for covering it. Nayandeep and Pratibha, follow up on the previous question is a lot of times we see startups building in a space which is already crowded or there are enough number of solutions. What do you think are such spaces where you have seen enough solutions and until and unless there is a great USP or great uniqueness, startup should think 2 to 3 times before building in that space? If you can take, any one of you can go first. Nayandeep?
Yeah, I'll go first. I mean, it's a very valid, and it is with everyone. For a new company, wherever you are thinking for new ideas, you have to see that it should be unique, it should be disruptive, it should be it is not available in the markets. In the current space, again, because I only can give insights that which is there in the market, and if I try to do it, because in every space, if I say whether Pratibha has mentioned that AI technology, AI based customized segregations, there are I think 6 7 people who will be working in different technology to get the customized segregations in terms of there. So but the major problem what I have seen, because no one thinking in a grassroots level means it's very hypothetical. The technology is evolved, technology is there, but somewhere in Indian context, to bringing those technology and using those technology for the benefit of Indian markets. I think this is where, because anyway we can't say today like a development market where we have a different categories of 4 5 bins where you ask consumer to segregate waste, which is not possible in India. So we have two waste bin, dry waste and wet waste, you have to segregate it, and even that is also not happening in the most of the cases, since the waste that we are receiving at the recycler or anything which is either is a mixed or it's having a food stuff in is there, and the cleaning sorting, it's a big mess. I think this is where that, and that's why I'm coming again and again, that how we incentivize technologies, how we can create, because consumer only segregate if they feel there is a value. Because I am getting a value, because paper, I am keeping my newspaper today also, because I know if I go I can sell this newspaper and it will go in a proper recycle. So I am not mixing this. Till that time we are doing, even for the plastic bottle, I think plastic bottle again something which is PET bottles I'm saying, because there is a value, we have incentivized it. I think we also think something in the laminate space or multi-layer uh, container space where something, incentivizing scheme, not only for corporates, it's not required for a corporate to come across. So if you can, if somebody can look into this as a holistically understand the current pain points and then make some software based system or something which actually help consumers, rag pickers who is collecting it, and the recycler, if the benefit percolate in each steps, then it is a benefit. I'm saying that is the area that we should look into, rather focusing on, because the key part of this, how we collection segregating our waste and then we make it in a proper recycle stream and use those material again into the stream. So how good your feedstock is important, that then only you can feed in your normal process, whether it's a direct food contact or indirect food contact. So this is something I'll not say biodegradable or compostable is the route, because we are going away from the problem. I'll say in that way. Means this is one route, yes, but we should do proper recycling, proper segregation, proper sorting with the technology interface, with the app-based system, so that everyone can benefit in the whole supply chain processes, and then we percolate means we share our benefits each other, and then we grow. And this is, I think, the best way that we can look into. Yeah.
Thank you for painting it. Pratibha, you want to add?
No, actually, I think he said it perfectly. I think the only thing I can add is an example of where we wanted a traceability system as well. And when we explored a number of softwares, nothing really met our core sort of on ground work that we do. Things were there which gave you very random traceability, which wasn't really traceability. It was just for the optics of it. Where you brought the waste picker and then you said, yes, look, wonderful, you have a face to it. But there was no traceability really in the system. So we went ahead and made our own software. We said that unless you have something which can input your day-to-day operations in the particular software, there's no way you're actually getting traceability. So yeah, and everything we got was mass balance basis, and we did not want something which is mass balance because that is again not traceability. We wanted material to material. So yeah, I mean that's the difference when you're working on ground and you realize that things are not um, things are not what you want them to be. Another small example is the policy bit. I know you probably want to discuss that later, but a wonderful policy, by the way, that's been made. It's really been very advantageous to people like us. But the only small aspect being that I wish that the government had put in the words of PCR as well in it. Because right now it's very open to either PIR or industrial waste or post-consumer waste. But I wish that little bit more specification was there. And yeah, but I think that only comes in when you've actually done the work on ground.
Got it. I think the important aspect from both what you have shared is if a startup wants to, or if they're building in this space, is first try to understand what exactly the problem is, go a bit deeper. And while developing a solution, ensure that there is a problem solution fit in the right way so that customers, be it other players working in the system, will get actual benefit out of what you're trying to build. That's the crucial aspect. Moving to Vidya. Vidya, based on our discussion, what are the best practices that you have seen on the ground in plastic recycling value chain? If you can throw some light on it, that would be great.
Yeah. So, good afternoon to all. Yeah, it is very important once we talk about the policy and in the circular economy. So, I must say, government has come up with very kind of the intact policy that has at one rule is at the level of waste generator, at one rule is at the recycler RP both. So once we talk about EPR and the policy for the municipal corporation, so both are very parallelly moving ahead and had the good advantage. So I have just want to recall one example. I was doing study for the waste characterization for the Rajasthan Pollution Control Board. So I have visited one recycler. I saw it was not kind of new startup, but it was the traditional business, but it has very much aligned the business how the I must say value chain can be pushed from one innovation. So in the recycling scope, I was visiting to one of the recycler. So the recycler has one specific unit for milk pouch recycling. So they have that collection. You can imagine 100, I mean 10 ton per day processing capacity of milk pouch. So you can imagine the scale of milk pouch. So being a policy and the grassroots level worker, so I have gone through the value chain, how you can get this much of plastic of milk pouch. So I understand he has elaborated the process and he told that every chai wala, every canteen, every kind of the person who generates 5 to 10 kg of milk pouches they are using. So they keep us with their shop, and then they collect one informal sector collector is there, and they are collecting on daily basis at evening during the closing of shop or tea shop, and they are collecting. That collection channel has been established without any such kind of innovation. So I must say that Jaipur area, that market area are tapped, and informal sector has established the full-fledged collection of milk pouch, and that is being collected just because of that decentralized recycling, because it is not being collected from Jodhpur or any other city. It is collected in the area of that only where the recycler exists, because the transportation cost and other costs get it cost goes up. So they are collecting in nearby area. But because of that one category of special category, they have created one value chain for the collection. So once it has happened, the whole value chain across the generator, even the dharamsala or any big hotel, they are collecting. They have that money, but they have sense of money. They can earn some money, so they had that thought. So as Nayandeep told, So it is very important to have the benefit of every stakeholder who are involved in the value chain. So my urge is only if you are decentralized the recycling, I must quote one another example of this Bhiwadi near to Delhi. There is a recycling hub, and one of the recycler is doing recycling of mulching plastic that is being used for the agriculture. Very thin plastic that is below 50 micron. It is not being collected across the India. I have seen there is no buyer for that plastic. But that plastic is being collected and the specific recycler is doing the recycling of that mulching plastic. And in the nearby 200 kilometer, there is a market for mulching plastic, the plastic coming through the agriculture process. So my point is not to have the innovation in only technology. It can be at any stage of value chain. As you rightly said, you need to check the scope, you need to check the availability, and then it is required. It might be at the segregation level, it might be at the level of processing, it might be level of packaging, any stage it can be, but it need to have that just simple recycling. This is the traditional recycling, no AI, nothing else, but it has created the circular chain and closed the loop for that particular plastic that is being indebted to landfill. Because I have seen all the plastic in the landfill, but in these areas the quantum and the composition is lesser because of these recyclers. So this is the one of the example that I must say it trigger.
Got it. Thank you, Vidya, for sharing two great insights, especially from ground, showcasing how ground up innovation is working. Um, wo- Based on what Nayandeep and you were saying, I think I remember the quote from Charlie Munger where he says, "Show me the incentive and I will show you the outcome." I think you both are hinting towards that. Pratibha, you had raised your hands. Do you want to add something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add about the milk pouches. So milk pouches in this industry work very similar to how newspapers will work in that sense, because it makes very cream product, if I may say. Your the outside layer of the packaging gets de-inked very easily of the milk pouches, which is where design for circularity is very nicely perfected. I mean, that's a perfect example of it. The kind of material it makes or the granules that it makes is pure white, and the applications for it are amazing, so that's like something that can make really good quality granules and give someone like us also really good profits in that sense. So which is why that's
Got
good. And on ground also, he's perfectly right about different collectors collecting different things. So when if we are sort of say short of a particular type of material that we want to run, we know exactly which area people to contact, because we know is type ka maal us jagah pe milta hai. So
Oh,
that way, the on-ground collection, in that sense, the Kabadi Walas network and all of that is extremely strong. So don't ever think
got
that
it.
we're not doing well enough as a country. This is for everybody. We are doing some amazing work on ground in terms of collection and recycling.
The way the informal networks work in India is crazy, and I think it is something. If someone comes from outside, it will be hard for them to understand how exactly it is going to work. Um, let's now talk about the policy aspects and what are how policy is nudging. Uh, Coming to you to Pratibha, if you can first tell us what are the crucial important policies that are in place, which are nudging different players in the ecosystem to move towards plastic circularity.
So of course there was EPR earlier, which was introduced way back in 16. But EPR alone wasn't going to cut it, because what we spoke about earlier, that there was no focus on science. People were just making granules because they can pass on the credits for it, and that just wasn't enough. But now with minimum recycled content, which has come in as well, which is well defined for rigids and flexibles for every category. What's happened is that now brands have to use recycled content, so it's going to push recyclers also to focus more on the science aspect of it, to make really good quality granules, and not just for the EPR sense of it, but to actually make a sale and make a packaging and sell it further. So I think that kind of push is very good. A personal example of us as a company is, I think about 70% of what we made before EPR draft came in around 2020 or 2021. Before the draft, I'm talking about. Draft, not even the actual kicking in of the policy. About 70% of what we made was exported. And now I think about 20%, 15 or 20% is our total exports. So it's completely opposite. All of the rest goes for domestic. So the demand domestically has really picked up. And the other problem that someone like us faced earlier is that exports were easier in the sense that you had longer term contracts. People would actually bother coming and booking out your capacities for a certain number of years. That never used to happen in India, but now it's very different. A lot of brands want to come and give their planning to you in advance, sign contracts, to make sure that even you can run your sort of company properly.
Got it. Nayandeep, do you want to add?
Means just one point, because anyway, I think Pratibha has covered, and I don't have very large experience on the regulatory framework. But yes, what I have seen that because uh, the regulations come and hitting us from as a brand owner perspective is from the Himachal Pradesh ban. It start with that, and then afterwards that CPCB came up with regulations, and then EPR been forced, and now what Pratibha is mentioning, now there is a regulations that you have to use how we can use virgin plus reduction. So you have to use recycled content on it. And the key challenges that we have is very clear that means everyone has to force to use certain percentage of recycle. The major chunk of challenge that we are facing is the current, because with all the recycler currently, that the good quality of its stock. I mean, it's very difficult, because how you collect and how you segregate your waste, and from where you are collecting and getting the correct raw material, then then you'll convert into a recycled granules, and then the quality of recycled granules is completely depends on what is the input that is coming into. I think this is where that we have to be more focused, and then what kinds of technology to be evolved, and then again, I'm just again repeating the same thing, but yes, that because of the regulatory things is happening, moving, all the brand owner or as a company lead, everyone is forced to. But I see there is a gap of unorganized sector is still not there in the skin of the game, and which
Got
is,
it.
if in India talking about almost 60% of unorganized sector, as compared to 30 to 35% is organized sector, which is most of the MNCs which is get triggered off. I think slowly we have to shift the game there also, so that all these collection segregations and those things, and again there should be a lot of policies that from where the feedstock has to be built in, and how good quality feedstock that we can make it. And the FSI has to come across here, and then bring some regulation which we can use for direct food contact. When today chemical recycling is a big challenge, and there is no one who's there in the chemical recycling zone, and when we are waiting for when Reliance to come across and give something, or someone who is having there. So because the quality, because anyway we are still buying recycled material from outside India. This is something I think we also need to have a very structured way of thinking, and again the technology evolvement, and then we have to understand the problem root cause, and then we have to bring it. If I have a food product as a material, and I want to use my recycled granules, I make collection of those, put it in the recycled granules, and if I want to use in the recycle stream, I can't. Today I can't,
Got it.
because this is the risk that I'm having. Yeah.
I think few important aspects that you both have covered is how policy is nudging towards creating demand, long-term contracts, as well as what are the gaps in the policy. I think you have covered my follow for it. Vidya, are we missing any policy in this apart from EPR, minimum recyclable content? Are there any important policies in play which might be released in future, or which are there but strong implementation is not happening, which might lead to increase in demand?
Yeah, if you see, the policies are in place. If we talk about the stakeholder, EPR is there. If we talk about the recycled, and one of the from this year only, the reuse bottle containers more than 4.9 liters is just from this year only. They have to start the reuse concept also. So if we talk about the second part, that is ULB, once we most of the time EPR can create the demand, as Nayandeep told, or Pratibha told. The seed stock is the problem, because once the traditional source is tapped, and traditional source, the informal sector or the household from household you buy, that is saturated. So if you talk about the maximize the recycling, it required the municipal waste that is not being collected at 100% or 80%. So it is being collected. It is being collected in mixed manner. So government has come up with plastic-based rule, and they have also come up with the amendments to monitor the plastic, what is the quantum of plastic is being generated, and also assess the value chain where it is going, because they have mandated the co-processing for the only reject plastic. It is not allowed to have that recycled material to co-process. But the enforcement is somehow missing. But government is coming up very hard to ensure the recovery at municipal level. So government has that mandate, had that ecosystem in place, but enforcement and the informal sector integration is one of the core important part. And one another aspect I want to highlight, even might come in coming days under the EPR. If you see, the informal sector trade is not tapped at any level in the channel of dump site to certain level. After getting it aggregator level, or after that, it is being captured in the traceability system. So there is a lack of some innovation is also lacking. Some I must say some GST and other part also entering in the factor that urge to do not enter in the domain to formalize, because once they enter, the GST component comes in the play. So these are the enforcement issues. I must say these are the enforcement issues, but there is a requirement of innovation also to tap the informal sector market player, because there is no assessment for the ULB as well. They don't have idea about what quantum of waste being traded from their own city. They don't have any quantity, any category, because it is being directly deal with the informal channel. So there is a scope to have that that number to tap, and also to integrate the informal channel in the formal through some startup, through some enterprise system. That can be one of the scope for the innovator also to get the good quality material at the decentralized level. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing those insights. With that, taking on one thread that you shared about urban local bodies and the challenges they are facing, I'm now shifting towards the third aspect of working with the corporates or with the governments. If someone is working in the plastic waste management, uh, working with urban local bodies becomes one crucial aspect. Based on your experience of dealing with different urban local bodies, if a startup wants to approach government, local governments, what should be their thought process? What are the key things that they need to keep in mind?
Yeah. So if you see earlier, because during my UNDP tenure and other, we have established the MRF center, decentralized MRF with the urban local body, and in other assignment also, we have established for MRF for the dry waste only, because earlier government is setting up mixed MRF to process the mixed waste at the MRF, but these MRF are for the specifically dry waste to cutter the dry waste, all the plastic, paper, and other materials. So during that time, I must say there was a reluctance to get any third party in the domain. But through the Swachh Sarvechan and other, government has mandated some aspect how partnership is being done. They have some export for different aspect for the processing and decentralized innovation. So government is open. Government has certain example they have set up with the even for private partnership mode, even through the some technical support from the CSR funding approach. So ULBs are open. There is a lot of example they have onboarded in different every ULB has different mode of engagement to private party in terms of concessionaire, in terms of innovator, in terms of particular CSR partner. So the if I go back to 2014-15, so there was very much reluctance to tier 2, tier 3 cities. Even in tier 1 cities also, they are not inclined to, they are not even open to have that kind of partnership in the government domain. But now they are very open. They are welcoming to the this sort of innovator. If they are keen to work, they have some positive intent. They welcome and they provide land. They provide their access to informal waste picker. They provide the access to their ecosystem. So there is a enough opportunity for the startup to have the certain, because they are struggling. It is not.
Hmm.
They are struggling at every stage. So they are looking for support for the segregation, for the collection, even for the drivers kind of domestic hazardous, sanitary waste. There is a lot of struggle in the municipal channel, how they can process and how they can recover it. Because the policy, we talk about the policy, they have that mandate to report the recovery, what quantum they are recovering from the every category. So that mandate also pushes them to have that innovator to start something new at their ULV level.
So, Vidya, I think you are suggesting that there is a policy push. The problems that they are facing are huge at the urban local bodies, by the local governments. It is understanding what kind of engagement model you are going to develop and then approach accordingly. Uh, I think then, Pratibha, you work with corporates, you work with local governments. While approaching, what is the thought process? What are the key aspects that you consider while approaching these agencies? And what is the difference while approaching a corporate and while approaching a government, let's say?
I think they're both very different, and they're both very different sides of our business as well. The ULBs, etc., that we would approach, the municipalities that we would approach, is purely for a collection point of view. And ULBs face a huge challenge in our country. You go to any tier three city, pick up anyone, anything, even with a population lesser than 40,000, which is barely anything, right? You go and see their sites where the MRF is supposed to be or is. Most of them are not running. If they are, they're running very little. And they have landfills and landfills of material just from the last few months. And it's so difficult for them to do anything about it because transportation of that material, ideally what they would do is they would stick everything into a truck and send it down south for burning in a cement lin. But the transportation cost of that is so much that they don't want to do it. They would have to bear extra costs more than what is budgeted for, so they don't know what to do with it. And because of that, then there are many HSC aspects as well. Those things catch fire. There's of course environment hazards, etc., also separately from that. And that's where when we come in and we talk to a municipality, for example, we bring in our expertise in a way, I'll say, because we are recyclers ourselves. We understand material, and because we are recyclers of flexible primarily, that's the material recovery that we want to do, which is normally not recovered by other people. Right? Most people won't bother so much about flexibles. They're more bothered about rigid because it has a more intrinsic value, anything like a pet or a shampoo bottle, etc. But since our vested interest is in flexibles more, and of course rigid also, if it comes in, it's amazing. We bring in a different sort of point of view over there. And the kind of material recovery we're able to do in that same MRF is humongous because we understand the material, right? And it's a place where we can segregate our material. At least a first level of segregation is done, and then it comes into our center for a second level of segregation. And that's where we bring our expertise over there. So there we're talking about a very different aspect, right? When we're talking to a corporate, for example, very honestly telling you, the only thing that works is price. And I don't think any brand, I mean, everyone's got their own KPIs. So, that's just what it is. And unfortunately, fortunately, actually, I'll say right now, I think the packaging team's KPI has also come into the PWM aspect, has shifted in over there, whereas that never used to be there earlier, right? So they're a bit more considerate there now because they have to meet their, and they don't want to pay penalties also at the end of the year. So that's where policy has brought in a little bit of shift. Um, but, um, uh, but yeah, so it's a very different ball game. I mean, of course, the quality aspect will happen over there, but they also know if you've come to this stage, quality will be met. It's price at the end of the day.
Thank you. I think Nayandeep mentioned it at the start. If you're bringing innovation, please ensure that it is economically viable because of the way price sensitivity of the Indian market. Nayandeep, do you want to add anything? If someone is approaching you, Apart from one core aspect is yes, price. What are the other things that they need to keep in mind if you would like to add?
No, I think for me, for us, it is we are really try to collaborate with each and everyone who wants to come, and then the thing is that we have to think that what is our problem, and then means how who can means collaborate with us and give more sense for the business. Means anyway that I have to think in that perspective uh, as a corporate, and definitely for I mean if I bring some new technology with collaborating with some of the recycler or somewhere, I love to do it, means anyway, because I want to be first in the market to bring some kinds of innovations which can very disruptive and which will bring or resolving a problem for the environment. We'll love to do it. And anyway, because these are the opportunity that all corporates is having, that as part of CSR activity, that what we want to communicate, that what we are doing. For me, I think anything which is possible in terms of technology, in terms of collaboration, we are happily wants to connect with them and take it further. For any support that we want as part of CSR activity, we are ready to do it, or maybe sustainable led activities. Yes, I am a packaging professional, so I am more keen for this, because yes, it's our KPI also a bit, and then we work towards all this KPI to meet it. Thank you.
Great. Uh, I lost track of time and we are at 16:53. So let's take
Uh,
quickly questions from the audience. And let's keep it short so that we are able to cover all the 16, 17 questions that we have from the audience. Um, what are current recycling processes or applications of recycled materials available for multi-layer plastic flexible pouch, which has layers of BOPP, PET, MET, PET, LDPE? Uh, anyone wants to jump in? What are current recycling process for multi-layer packaging? In short, the question is. Pratibha?
What is the current recycling process for it? See, very
Yes.
quickly telling you we don't recycle MLP because there is no economically viable option to do it at the moment. People are making some products out of it, but again, it's not economically viable. It's all a part of CSR funding projects. Once the CSR money is finished, your project is going to shut down. Um, so there's nothing economically viable at the moment.
Got it.
Yeah, that's my answer. Maybe that's an innovation point as well in the future.
Which is the hard nut to crack in plastic recycling? Vidya, would you like to go? I mean, what are the materials currently considered as difficult to recycle?
Yeah, if you say no plastic, even the polymer is, if we talk about, it is not the hard nut to recycle, because if it is monoplastic, it is not hard. But if we talk about, because I'm raising the aspect of municipality and the municipal waste. So any plastic that has the contamination, then it start the complexity. If you have multiple plastic in the contaminated form, it requires lot of washing, and then it matters of viability. It is not matter of scientific recycling. If you want to recycle any plastic can be recycled, but does it recyclable for the economic value? Then it is difficult. So it is required to have the segregation first, because I'm always talking, if you have the quality segregation. Currently I'm in Kerala, so just want to say in Kerala they have source segregation. The quality of plastic being generated at Kerala, that has quality of granules, and that can be recycled and used for the again for the material.
Great. Thank you. Uh, can I think Nayandeep, you can answer this. Can you please speak about best plastic alternatives available and to what extent they are in use?
Means there are a lot of options. Means you can use any kinds of bioplastics. You can use any kinds of paper-based structure as alternative plastics. Uh, Considering cost, I'll always say, because they should not. But yes, viability, functionality, viability. we need to ensure, and the shelf life, which is also critical for any food or any products. So I think this something, if been match is there. As on today, India, I think very less number of means it's hardly 2-3% which been used in the overall consumption, which I'll say in that way. It's very minimalistic quantity that we are using, particularly on the single-use plastic ban that regulations came. People are forcefully moving into some biodegradable alternate packaging source, which been there, but there are a lot of challenges till now. And then solution. Yes, there is a opportunity area that if you can make it, and that's why I also mentioned in the beginning of my speech that you can make it cost optimized, viable solutions in the biodegradable space. Means that will be a game changer in this market. Yeah.
Got it. I think you're covered holistically. Uh, Vidya or Pratibha, anyone, do you have any insights on the current adoption of 4.9 plastic package reuse? Now that policy has been placed for over a year. I don't know what is 4.9 plastic package.
Yeah, actually, for the rigid material under the EPR only, government has mandated if you are producing 4.9 liter and above containers, so you have to ensure that reusability. So recollect that container and then refill and then supply it to back. So for that particular perspective, government has mandated in the EPR section. So for the rigid, it is I think it is 70% or some quantity they have mandated for the this category. So, but abhi, just for the last example, I have seen some product, but in market I have not seen the product for that. It might other colleagues tell about the introduction of that container.
Okay.
So I think as
Pratibha,
far
you
as
want?
I'm aware that a lot of companies are complaining about the reuse aspect at the moment because, and which is amazing, a difficulty to have that they're not able to collect that back because a lot of Indian households tend to reuse that themselves. So nobody wants to go and give it for reuse to the company back, or it's getting recycled at a more local level because it gets a good price, right? Those barrels. So it's a good problem to have, but for them, unfortunate because then they won't be able to meet their percentages.
Noted. There are few on recycling products. I think we have answered. What are challenges? Waste segregation. I think Vidya has covered it in detail. Alternative to polymers and alternative to plastic. I think Nayandeep has covered it twice now. Um, Section 8, I think this is not relevant per se for this panel, so I'm going to skip this question. Uh, is there a chance of breakage if we use repurposed material and filler along with virgin? If so, what is the solution? Anyone can jump in. I think the question is ambiguous. Should I read it again?
Yeah, I didn't understand the question.
Is there a chance of breakage if we use repurposed material and filler along with virgin plastic? If so, what is the solution?
So, see, we do a lot of secondary packaging. Secondary packaging by itself is for really heavy materials that you're transporting from one place to another. Which is why I said if you focus on the science aspect of it, of the recycled granules, no, there isn't. It works almost as good as virgin. You only lose a little bit of visibility when virgin is completely transparent. If you take 100% PCR, thing as well, I would love to show you an example if I can get it here on time. But until then, I think before the conversation gets finishes, I'll show you an example of recycled and virgin. But yeah, no breakage if you focus on science.
Got it. There was another one on bioplastics, but I think we have covered it, so I'm skipping this question. What is synthetic plastic biodegradable regulation and market need? I think I'm again an ambiguous question. Is there any rules for companies to use recycled plastic or other better alternatives? We have covered this question in the policy landscape. So yes, there are few more, but I think they're not relevant. And the ones which are relevant, I think the panel has already answered. We will be sharing the recording if you have joined or missed certain parts of it. We will be adding it on our YouTube channel, so you can go to that relevant part and ensure that your question is answered. I think it was great interacting with you all. I lost track of time. I think Pratibha has the product
Yeah, I'm going
here.
to quickly show you something. This is a 60% PCR product, for example. That means it's got 60% waste in it, post-consumer waste. And you can see there's good enough transparency. It doesn't break very easily. Again, for different applications, different amount of PCR is used, different, of course, thickness is there. But yeah, to just give you an idea.
Thank you. Thank you for doing a live demo as well. Uh, Great interaction with all of you. I think I learned a lot about this space today. Few crucial aspects, key takeaways for me, especially in the innovation white space problem is, again, going back to the basics and fundamentals is go a bit deeper into understanding the problem and really if you're going providing the solution for a particular problem. I think that's crucial when you're building in the space. On the policy side, I think all of you talked about how there is a push, there is nudge from the policy, and there is an increase in demand. Um, and how the companies are and corporates are getting into long-term contracts as well. It also, I think Vidya covered it in how different local governments are now open for engaging with different startups. You need to figure out what kind of engagement model, and I think Pratibha also shed a great light on that part. On corporate innovation, and the focused in detail about what are the innovation, what are the white spaces that you can build up to, covering all the four aspects of reuse, recycle. One key takeaway while building innovation is also ensuring on how you have to keep economic feasibility in mind. Just innovation will not help you to sustain and grow the business. I think on that note, I will summarize what you have shared, and thank you so much for taking out time today and joining and sharing your insights. We will be in touch with you. Those who are building in this space, Parvati has just shared the application link. Do check out our program if you're interested. Do apply. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, panelists, for sharing your thoughts. It was lovely and great conversation. I enjoyed it a lot. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.